students, myself Ravi Mishra. Today we discuss the plant movement topic in this video. In this video, we discuss the important questions which come in board exams and various competition exams. In the middle of this video, we discuss many objective type questions and its solution with good explanation. So, for important question, see the video till the end. First of all, you have not subscribed my channel yet. Please subscribe and click on bell icon for new videos with new important topic. Now, we start the topic plant movement. The movement of higher plants are chiefly in the form of bending, twisting and elongation of certain plant parts or organ. This type of movement is called plant movements. There are two types of movements on the basis of growth. The first, tropic movement, second, Gnostic movement. Tropic movement shows growth, but Gnostic movement do not shows growth. Firstly, we discuss about tropic movement. The movement of plant organ towards or away from a stimulus is known as tropism, means tropic movement, and Gnostic movement is the movement of a plant in response to an external stimulus in which the direction of response is not determined by the direction of stimulus. This type of movement is called Gnostic movement. The tropic movement explained on the basis of two ways: positive tropic movement and negative tropic movement. If the movement takes place towards the stimulus, that shows positive tropic movement, and if the movement takes place away from the stimulus, that represent negative tropic movement. There are 5 common stimuli in the environment. First, light. Second, gravity. Third, chemical. Fourth, water. Fifth, touch. These 5 stimuli gives us 5 type of tropic movement. First, phototropism. Second, geotropism. Third, hydrotropism. Fourth, chemotropism. Fifth, chemotropism. On the basis of stimulus such as heat, light, touch, the Gnostic movement are 3 types: photognosty, nectignosty and thigmognosty. The main difference between tropic movement and Gnostic movement is that tropic movement is a directional movement of the plant part, but Gnostic movement is not a directional movement of the plant part with respect to stimulus. Now, in next step, we explain about the types of tropic movement one by one. In phototropism, the stimulus is light. In geotropism, the stimulus is gravity. In chemotropism, the stimulus is chemical. In hydrotropism, the stimulus is water. And in thigmotropism, the stimulus is touch. Means phototropism is controlled by the light, geotropism controlled by the gravity, chemotropism controlled by the chemical, hydrotropism controlled by the water, and thigmotropism controlled by the touch. Now we explain phototropism, geotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism, thigmotropism movement one by one. Firstly, we explain about phototropism movement. The phototropic movement explained by this figure. We know that the response of a plant to a light is called phototropism. If the plant part shows movement towards light, it is called positive phototropism. On the other hand, if the plant part moves away from the light, is called negative phototropism. The stem of a growing plant bend towards light, so the stem of a plant shows positive tropism. On the other hand, the root portion of the plant moves away from light, show the roots of the plant shows negative phototropism. In this figure, the stem of the plant moves towards light, means it shows positive phototropism. The root that present under the soil, that shows negative photo. The phototropic movement is represented by this diagram. We take a potted plant growing in a transparent glass jar. When this potted plant is kept in the open space, the sunlight falls from above, due to which the stem of the plants grow straight up towards the source of light, such as sun. The root of the plant also grows straight, but in the downward direction. So, from this figure, we can say that the stem of the plant shows positive phototropic movement and root shows negative phototropic movement. The next topic is geotropism. Now we explain about geotropism. From this diagram, we explain the geotropic movement. The response of the plant to the gravity is called geotropism. If the plant parts move in the direction of gravity, it is called positive geotropism. On the other hand, if the plant part moves against the direction of gravity, it is called negative geotropism. Now, the root of the plant moves downward in the direction of gravity, so the root of the plant shows positive geotropism. But the stem of the plant moves upward against the direction of gravity, so the stem shows negative geotropism. The geotropism process and movement shown by this diagram. We take a potted plant growing in a transparent glass jar. When this potted plant is kept in the normal position, we can see that its roots are growing downward and its stem is growing upward direction. If the potted plant and keep the pot horizontally, the root and stem both are parallel to the ground. That represent by this figure. In third diagram, means in third condition, after few days we will find that the root of the potted bend downward towards the earth and the stem of the plant bend upward. It means the stem shows negative geotropism, but root or always shows positive geotropic movement. In next step, we explain about chemotropism briefly. The chemotropism movement explained by this diagram. We know that the growth of a plant parts due to chemical stimulus is known as chemotropism. The growth of a pollen tube towards the ovule induced by a sugary substance as stimulus is an example of chemotropism. This can be explained as follows. The leaf stigma in the carpel of a flower secrete a chemical substance which is a sugary substance into the style towards the ovary. This sugary substance acts as a stimulus for the pollen grain which fall on the stigma of the carpel. The pollen grain responds to this stimulus by growing a pollen tube in the downward direction into the style of the carpel, reaches to the ovule in the ovary of the flower for carrying out fertilization process. Fertilization means fusion of male and female gamete to form zygote. This growth of the pollen tube is response to a chemical substance secreted by the stigma of a flower that represent the chemotropism movement. In next step, we explain about hydrotropism. The root of the plant always go towards water even if it means going against the pull of gravity. That represent hydrotropism movement. The hydrotropic movement is represented by this diagram. When we potted a plant in a container which is half filled with soil and half filled with water. After some time we observe that the root of the plant shows movement towards the water, that shows the positive hydrotropism. In next step we explain about Chemotropism movement. The climbing plants have climbing organs such as tendrils. Tendrils are the thin thread-like growth on the stem or leaves of climbing plants. Thus, there are two types of tendrils, stem tendrils and leaf tendrils. Tendrils are sensitive to the touch of other objects. Thus, the tendrils have cells which can sense their contact with a nearby solid object like a bamboo sticks or the stem of another plant. So, when a tendrils touch an object, then the side of tendril in contact with the object grows slowly than the other side. This causes the tendrils to bend towards the object by growing towards it, bind around the object and climb to it. The binding movement of tendril of a climbing plant is an example of Chemotropism movement. Chemotropism movement is often seen in plant having tendrils. Tendrils are positive chemotropism, which means that they grow towards things they happen to touch. Now we explain the types of Gnostic movement. The first part of Gnostic movement is Chemonosty, means the movement of plant part in response to the touch of an object is called Chemonosty. The example of Chemonosty, Mimosa pudica. The other name of Mimosa pudica plant is Chuimui. The Mimosa pudica shows Chemonostic movement after touching. The second part is Photonosty, the non-directional movement of a plant part in response to light is called Photonosty. Example, dandelion flower and moonflower shows the movement towards the photo, means light, that shows the photonostic movement. Next, nyctinosty, movement of the plant part in response to darkness is called nyctinosty. Mostly legume plants shows nyctinostic movement. Here one question arises, why the leaf of the Mimosa pudica plants drop and fall after the touch. Now we explain the folding up of the leaf of a sensitive plant on touching is due to the sudden loss of water from pad-like swelling called pulvini present at the base of all the leaves of the sensitive plant, which makes the pulvinis lose their firmness, causing the leaves to drop and fall. The diagram of pulvinis is this part is called pulvinus. Now the plant movement topic is completed. So in next video we discuss about the human nervous system